Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Welcome again to GG Speedruns and the Messenger 8-bit new game No Out of Bounds tournament. Today we have Janglestorm going up against Fruity Waffles, two veterans of this particular speedrun, this game in general. They've been at this game for quite some time and are pretty comparable overall in regards to their abilities and things like that. I have not been able to witness any Fruity Waffles practice, so I'm not sure how they are doing currently, but I've been watching Jangle, who's recently gotten a moderate PB, got himself into the 32 club, so congratulations to Jangle during the course of prepping for these tournaments. And Fruity, obviously an established player, so I'm expecting some good matches today. A reminder of anyone who is new to this tournament, I know it's a little bit early in the broadcast, but I will put it out there that this is a best of 3 matchup. So each one has to win 2 in order to advance. This is kind of an interesting spot to be in the brackets, however, because the loser who does go down to the second chance brackets is going to get a little bit of a vacation before they actually have their next match. It'll be quite interesting. The brackets line up where the person who falls down from this particular winner's bracket gets 2 consecutive buys before they have their next match. So that'll be I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but it'll be advantageous for them. Plenty of time to practice and maybe sneak on some people there. So anyway, we're looking forward to it. We're just going to finalize some setup here really quick. The runners are not 100% ready yet, so still in some time here. For those of you who don't know, this category is a very shortened, truncated version of the entire game. We only cover the portion of the game that goes through the 8-bit side of the game. So up through Tower of Time and completing the final fight with the Arcane Golem before the game turns into a 16-bit ordeal and continues on there. That is all that this category entails. It's approximately, between 30 to 35 minutes, about 40 minutes, depending on skill level. And we're going to definitely see these guys. These guys are definitely going to showcase a lot of tech that you get to do. So it may not always feel like the fastest, but believe me, this is an easy run to pick up. Very, very difficult to master. You're going to see why, as these guys are going to do all kinds of fun stuff throughout that. And also, we just want to thank, as the Messenger community as a whole, would like to also thank Mr. Dino for hosting this tournament on GG. Always huge for this guy. Much appreciated to him and his team behind the scenes doing all the hard work and making sure that everything goes off without a share. Adjustment, apologies for that. Waiting for file names here, so we should be getting a countdown shortly. Do hang tight and get this rolling shortly. Looks like a little parody between our two runners there, giving a yay to their respective opponents. Very good. I love the camaraderie within this community. They respect each other immensely. They're very willing to share tech secrets and all that kind of stuff amongst each other to kind of further and better everybody's abilities and PBs. And you can't get a better community than this. But all right, looks like we got a countdown and we are officially roll. Off. All right, so everyone's going to start in the same location with Ninja Village. Ninja Village is a very, I'll say a very tricky stage. It's difficult. There's frame perfect tricks. You got to do some manipulation for RNG during the course of doing the Ninja Village. All of those particular things. So we do have a little bit of a desync here on our timers. Dino usually does like to try to time things up. Yeah, you'll see a pause on Fruity Waffles while we wait for Janglestorm to get to about the 25-second mark, and then we'll be so again, this basically is the ninjas kind of starting their finishing their day of watching out for the Western hero. No sign of it. Besides, he's going to go ahead and visit the lore lessons from the master of the village. There we go. Now we are back in sync, so we'll have a nice and good view of what everyone is doing currently. But again, like I said, frame perfect tricks. You got to do some things that are very pixel perfect here in order to get through. It's what you would expect in any ninja village to be. You can't be a ninja if you can't do really hard tricks. Now we're going to have our little betting game. How many shards will they get? Out shortly here. First, let's see. Okay, both of them got the Ducker Z strat, so a little hop backwards. All you have to do is hold down and no other buttons, and Ninja just barely hops backwards to avoid the fireball rather than going back really far. So a little bit of a time save there. Looks like we'll be leaving Ninja Village very similarly here. And our shard count. 2 on Jangle, 1 on Fruity. Total of 3 out of a possible 4. That's some heavy shard work, so might get a little slower Autumn Hills there. Ninjas are weighed down with extra currency. It's going to be, that's really not going to be a problem. We just like to joke about it. So, you know, technically, if you get 2 shards, it's also kind of considered a curse. But it's actually a really good start. They want to get to 40 shards before their first shopping opportunity, and having anything at a Ninja Village is certainly a blessing. That's what we're going to have. That's what we're going to go with. And now we're going to go into our very first stage, and the hardest enemy of the game will be coming up at the end of this first screen. We're going to see how our ninjas choose to address the deadly Kappa, who has ruined multiple runs throughout his career. Looked like Fruity might have been going for a front boost and unfortunately didn't get it. Jangle just decided to leave him alone, but didn't hug the next one. So that's a little scary to do, getting a knockback this early when you don't really have anything to kind of help you with that. So now you'd be seeing a little bit of race nerves, at least coming from Jangle's side here. Obviously, there's not really many Kappa slappings going on here. And that's just like what we call a turtle boost, basically, where you can push yourself forward using the knockback feature off of any monster or any item that has more than 1 hit point. Both of them did get their 40 shards before the shop. I believe both had to go touch the stump a little bit, though, in order to do so. So, unfortunately, no, Jangle did not. Jangle was able to get it on the arc, so had to make up a little bit of time there after the little goof ups with the turtles going through that first stage. So we're very even right now. Extremely close match right now. They're basically about, let's say, about half a second away from each other. So we're right exactly where we want to see a race to be. All right, so now we've got our first real tricky point here. This is an intentional spike boost most people will take rather than waiting for the swing here. Thinking right thoughts is always good. Both of them getting right thoughts, thank goodness, so no disparity there. They, of course, do need to be mindful of their HP at this point, especially Jangle, who's currently at 1, but when they get to this save point, they'll be boosted. Good stuff there. Still very, very close after one of what is kind of considered either I guess you could say kind of either a performance or an RNG obstacle with that spike boost. So no problem here. You notice, obviously, the audio gets a little distorted as you go underwater. Go figure. Nice little touch by the developer. Always fun. This room, we'll see how they handle the saws, if they choose to go ahead and damage boost through the last saw here, or if they're going to take it safe and go around. There's runner preference at this particular one. Obviously, it's a little bit faster to take the damage boost. It looks like both are opting to do so. So we'll have very low HP unless they stop for the gourd before trying to attempt spike tower skip. So, and it's not really a danger to do so. Ooh, Fruity missing the projectile, did not get a chance to even go for it. Jangle cleanly making that tower. Now basically takes the lead. We got another lead change here as Jangle does succeed in that trick and is ahead now of Fruity about a couple of points. So well done on Jangle's side there. Fruity will want that one back, and we'll get in on the second. Not a lot more to say here. I mean, Autumn Hills is just kind of it's kind of an easy one, but there are little things here and there that you can do to try to make it go faster. Just watching their shard counts, both of them pretty heavy on the gem front. So it looks like neither one are going to have any problems with their mount. Good swing skip from Jangle. Ooh, Fruity unfortunately didn't get the platform on that, so it's going to go with a backup strat. Oh no! Takes a knockback again and didn't recover. There we go. Gets it on that at try. Let's go, Fruity. You got this now. And I didn't notice it. Jangle got a stump jump, but it looked like Fruity did. So at least we got that going there. And we're going to be coming up to the end of Autumn Hills very shortly. 130 gems is all you require. Gems. I'm sorry. I'm a Shantae runner at heart. Always have been, always will be. And so currency in that is gems. It's time shards. Game. 130 shards is all you require in order to do your next shot. So, or is it 140? No, I'm pretty sure it's 130. At any rate, Jangle not hurting for money. We'll be going in there. Fruity's going to be even in better shape going in there for this upgrade, these 2 upgrades that they're purchasing. Now they are going to be fully prepared as they have knockback recovery and they have the ability to, I forget what the other one is for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, I think, no, it's not even that. My brain is not fully with me here, but anyway, Leaf Golem, scary boss. Scary boss. This is a 101 cycle here if you can get it. Jangle doing so very nicely. If you happen to not get it, canonically, as per every trick in this run, it loses 8 seconds. It's actually probably more than that, to be fair, but I think it's seconds. Fruity also getting there. So the boss did not get either runner, which is good. This is what you want to see. We're not too far off each other right now. I have Jangle entering the Forlorn Temple and gathering the extra lag frame by touching the save point at 6:25. And Fruity will be entering at... So we got 10 seconds difference between our runners. That's basically nothing in this game. And of course, Fruity's now going to get that frame time save by skipping the save pad there. Everyone, wave hi and bye to Necro. One of the best Phobicans in the game. Absolutely the best Phobican in the game. But yeah, this is where things really start to pick up. Like, the danger of the game really does get there. Like, you've had the introductory level. Now Catacombs is going to start to really throw it at you. So there's spikes everywhere. There's pits everywhere. And then they add the element of crushing to you as well. And you're going to have to navigate these particular things and try to do so in a cycle. Fruity opting very wisely to wait for that crusher cycle, as realizing we're not going to make it. And it was a very smart play there. Jangle not going to be opting for butt boost. That's fair. I don't believe that he restarted the run, or at least restarted the game before getting into the races, so would have chanced whether or not would have been boosted the right way. Fruity also opting out of that particular trick as well, navigating crushers and everything from there. All right, let's see if Jangle can get this upcoming cycle here. This is pretty tight. Should be okay even with that little hitch on the corner. Yep. That's not as scary as it looks. It is kind of tight, but it's a lot more lenient than the vast majority of some of the cycle skips that we try to get throughout this particular game. Jangle handled that very well. We'll see if Fruity can follow suit. Very clean. Let's go. All right, so again, we're probably maintaining right around a 10 to 11 second difference between these two runners. No QD Crusher attempt there from Jangle. Understandable. That trick is kind of scary. In a race format, it may not be necessarily something you'd want to go for because you are risking quite a bit of a time loss. As we talk about, death, obviously both runners would keep that from ever happening. You really want to get a deathless run in any of these particular ones. However, if there is a death to occur, you hope it'll happen just right after any of these checkpoints that the runners are going to cross, because at least it'll mitigate some of that time loss. Going to come up to our turtle room here and see if Jangle will opt to try for a badonkadonk. Looks like he is setting up for it. Oh, accidentally kills the Kappa before dropping down. So he's going to reset up and then go for it, and did not get it. So we'll have to deal with the gauntlet. Let's see how Fruity Waffles attempts goes. Up and close, and unfortunately didn't get the jump in time either. Was caught by the cutscene box. So going to remain even here. No time gain advantages gained on either runner here, unless they can handle, have any difficulties handling. That looks like very similar gauntlet rooms in regards to that. Fortunately, Jangle taking a little too much damage getting to the end of things here. Cannot take the spike boost, so Fruity's going to take a little bit of advantage of that, gain a little bit more time on Jangle, and starting to get on his heels again as he was able to do the spike boost in the swing room. It's good. All right, Monster Vader for Jangle, using all these monsters to climb up quickly. Both clean from both sides, done by both runners here, and we'll be coming up to our basically like scary room. This one's really tight from a cycle perspective. Looks like Jangle's very clean, should make this without too much hassle. And Fruity did not, took a damage there, also got caught on the corner, has to wait for the crusher cycle. So Jangle now going to take up a little bit of extra running room ahead as he's going to be heading into our next boss, Mr. Ruxton. I hope Mr. Ruxton's feeling high today. Everyone say hi, Ruxton. Hopefully he's feeling a little uplifting. They are going to be in the boss fight at the same time, which is going to look really good. Jangle getting the high Ruxton. Oh no, but it wasn't able to get up there right away. This might not be a really good, this may not be a really quick kill. And unfortunately, on Waffle's side, Ruxton decided to go low. So not playing, it looks like he's playing favorites here, but Jangle is definitely having the slower fight of the two just because of the way it went. He was able to get him finally. So this will be really close. I don't think that anyone really gained anything out of this particular one with the way that these fights went. So even though there was disparity in the RNG and Jangle had the better opportunity, the unfortunate execution there actually cost him a little bit. So he's past it. They're both past it, and that's wonderful. And I have been joined by How Tall It Would. How are you?
Well, hello. I'm doing well. I hate to see Rusted pick his favorites, but you know sometimes it just happens that way. We'll have to see what happens in the next race if he actually evens it out for once.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him flip the other way. For sure. But everyone now, both the runners currently going through Bamboo Creek, one of the favorite places. Everyone kind of gets a Chinese food craving when they go through this particular place. I think Rainbow Dragon Eyes and official lyrics got a couple of big tricks here that could actually kind of like determine the flow. We could definitely have a lead change on any situation. So I'm going to keep a close eye on some of these rooms as the runners are making their way through their technical vacation.
Yeah, Bamboo is one of those stages. There's lots of little rooms where it's easy to just, especially if you got the nerves going, the spaghetti just kicks in. One room falls apart, and then another, and of course there's BC11 that we're all waiting for, which just decides how good your Bamboo feels more often than not.
Indeed, and I'm not familiar with Rudy's like method or like trick of choice when it comes to BC11. I think Jangle is an N2 enjoyer personally. So see how that goes.
Yeah, we're gonna see Rudy is either going to just go straight to the elevator and go for the switch jump, or do the Kappa setup here. Yeah.
Right, Jangle tried N2 and just didn't get the height. Wasn't able to get the one tile in play, unfortunately. So now is doing the backup. Nice little skip there, though, using those projectiles.
Yeah, that projectile skip is a really handy backup, or just using it as your go-to strat, as Fruity had attempted to do.
And did, actually. Took the lead in BC11. Actually was able to get the elevator skip and is now just off to the races and actually starting to pull away a little bit from Jangle, who's had a little bit of problems with some of the monsters.
They're both got the big shard milestone coming up, but both of them are actually really rich. Both been hitting a lot of lanterns in Bamboo. So.
No shopping concerns getting into Howling Grotto by any stretch here. And as they come to the end of this, it'll just be grabbing a few extra gems. Anything that they're grabbing at this point is just extra gravy. There is one more shop where you pick up your rope dart that you could opt to get a couple of things. Most people just go ahead and do so, because it does open up some possibilities in Tower of Time. I think no one's going to have to worry about that particular count. I think those shops are very secure, so at least money is no concern.
Yeah, and now going to Grotto, of course, we have the addition of the wingsuit, which is a wingsuit and a couple of upgrades tied with it that pretty much just dictate how everything in this entire stage is going to go. We've got a couple things to look out for, of course. DK coming up as one of the big tricks.
Yeah, and there's just, this particular stage is, other than that particular one, I'd say there's just a lot of optimized movement. You've got God Drop here. Jangle smartly probably pulling back just a little bit. That one's a really finicky trick to just get down there without having the wingsuit. Neither one of them eating a bunch of spikes, so good to see on that front. They should have no qualms at least getting through the early parts of this. But yeah, Howling Grotto is more of optimized movements rather than actually tricks. There's a couple of things, like I said, DK skip coming up here shortly in a room for both of these runners. See how this goes, and the movement still has to be very tight in order to make sure that they can make that.
Yeah, no, Fruity already volunteered, so he's definitely not going to be going for the boost here. See if Jangle can get it.
Yeah, but we're basically synced now. that DK skip has pulled the runners absolutely even. Now we have like a 3-second disparity between the two in regards to the timer. So it's a little deceptive. So I'd say Jangle's just a little bit behind. But otherwise, again, just very well handled.
They're very close right now.
Yeah.
And then there's there's really because I don't think either of these runners go for the full yeet down here in the water. So it should just be no more tricks from here on out. Just yep.
That's a really tight trick. The God Yeet is very, very difficult, so don't blame them for going for it, especially in a race setting.
No, it's it is incredibly dangerous, and if it's not very easy to back up out of. The reaction time you have to not yeet yourself into the pit if you mess it up is very tough. It's really tight. It's very easy to just die there if you mess up that trick.
All right, we're about to end our trip through Howling Grotto, which means we're coming up to our next boss. I hope they all know how to count to 7. This is also going to be quite interesting. The performance here will really determine who's going to take an advantageous lead going into the next stage. So how they handle this boss is going to be very paramount. As we look very synced, again, there's about a 2-second disparity between the two. Fruity slightly ahead, but one mistake here could easily flip it.
Yeah, this is one of those bosses, this and Queen Quill, we'll see later, where, especially if you take this fight pretty aggressive, you're held down pretty low. It's one of the scarier bosses, combined with just, honestly, as simple as it sounds, it can be surprisingly difficult to make sure you get 7 hits on that core, but obviously, both runners here have...
oh no, Jangle! No! He lost his DPS thinking he had the kill and just stopped, and unfortunately that's going to cost him quite a bit here. Got Fruity on the second phase in a dangerous situation. Still missing quite a couple of hits here, trying to stay away from the orb and use the shuriken strats to snipe. Smartly handled. Taking a death there is even worse than what happened to Jangle. So
yeah, and that's like in Fruity's case, that's exactly what I'm talking about in this fight is, especially if you opt to go as quick as possible through the first phase and take every damage boost, you end up with a pretty low health count going into that orb phase. And it seems pretty simple. It's just, you know, this unassuming green floating orb that you just kind of whack at, but it can get pretty scary, especially considering the fastest way to kill it is to just be up in its face and take damage, so...
yeah, that orb, he does what he wants. There's no rhyme or reason to the movement personally. So we have to be very, very cautious with that.
Yeah. Incredibly, the second phase is incredibly RNG heavy, and it is not easy to react to at all.
All right, Jangle's redemption on that went a lot smoother.
Yeah.
He'd get a higher kill. We'll spend a few extra seconds slowly floating down to Earth. He'd like to be down lower if at all possible, but he's past it, and that's the bigger important thing is we've got Fruity now going into the longest horizontal room in the entire game, long enough it actually has 2 checkpoints called the right room.
Yeah, and it looks like Fruity opting to not go for as many of the, only a few of the turtle boosts here. It can be pretty tricky. Each turtle boost that you get in this room affects your position with this spike ball here just a little bit. So it's always kind of pretty calculated to figure out how many you're comfortable going for, because you don't wanna mess up that ball cycle, because it's not easy to deal with if it's not where you're expecting it.
It's very painful to take too. Sometimes you get to that point, you're basically in death range with only 3 HP, which that's how much damage that does. Being mindful, I think there's a comfort factor for everyone until you get like either very comfortable with doing all of the T boosts throughout the room, or just taking like the ones that you were extremely comfortable with and know where that ball is going.
Yeah.
As long as you make no other movement errors. I think a lot of them take kind of this conservative one where they'll slap it too, and then they know where that spike ball is going to be and are able to manage it. All right, see how good grass cutter on Pretty Waffle side will save just a little bit of time in regards to not having to go up and hit that switch. Obviously loses out on the ability here since we only have 2 shurikens at this point, but not that big of a deal. You'd rather at least get that early than not get it at all.
Yeah, getting it's 2 different. Ooh, okay, wait, no, Fruity has the health, so it's okay that he missed the drop there. Going into bully room here. But yeah, no, opting to throw the shurikens to hit that switch as opposed to the other strats, it's a slightly lesser time save, but it's a significantly easier trick. So.
Did Fruity have a crash?
Might have.
Unless he died in Bully Room and is taking for a reset, but that doesn't make any sense. I think the game crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh my goodness. I knew we didn't lose the stream because the timer was still going, but I was curious like what happened there. And yeah, that's a rarity. This game is very stable.
Save was all the way back there. That's really unfortunate.
No.
Yeah, no, he had mentioned he had an issue with some random crashes before, and I've actually heard some of the some other instances of runners running into crashes lately. But have that happen here, and especially at that point in this stage.
You're skipping checkpoint after checkpoint in this particular one, like he did it again too. He decided to opt out of the second checkpoint in right room, and obviously it will only take you back to where you basically last saved, and you're skipping all these checkpoints. That adds up. Oh man, that's unfortunate for Fruity. He was having an extremely solid run too. Anything could still happen. This doesn't necessarily give Jangle the win by default. Not even close.
No.
A lot of race left.
Yeah, there's a lot of stage. Of course, as soon as we get through here, we get into crags. The rope dart changes a lot of stuff. There's a big movement difference that can happen between runners there. Of course, Jangle's in the queen fight right now, looking like that's going pretty well. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Whipless right left. Yeah, that's a whipless right left. Not necessarily the most ideal, but the big important thing, whipless.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's the as I mentioned earlier, it's the other really, really scary fight. If you manage to mess up your damage and start to get whipped, that fight can get really ugly really fast.
He's now made it back to Bully Room, about where he left off, and got through there. Both of them did Bully Room just fine, taking hits each. So somewhat ideal. The one hit Bully Room's pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie. That'd be fast.
Yeah, that is. I remember when the setup for one hit Bully Room was first discovered. It was one of those things that was so difficult that most people didn't even consider it a really viable option. And it's only over the last few years the runners have continued to just push this game further and further, that it's the kind of thing that people are going for now. It's honestly really impressive.
They're going to keep an eye on the Queen of Quilts fight on Fruity Waffle's side here, see how that goes. Hopefully he can keep it even by doing an equally whipless fight here. Going to do a slightly different strat. Good right on the Queen of Quilts, at least this time. Let's see if the damage is keeping up. Looks like it could be. And is. See,
that was
everything.
Fantastic fight.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful by Fruity there. So that definitely helps. Even a little bit of time save in the fact that they didn't even have to come back across the screen. Doesn't have a death, obviously. That was just a game crash, so there is no cutscene that'll be had there. That's good. Jangle currently making his way through clearing crags at this point. Has the rope dart, which that's where the movement speed really does kick up. You get the rope dart everything, really propel that ninja forward. But struggling with some of the minutia in regards to some of the platforming here, so it's not bad, but every little mistake made that if Fruity can do cleaner, obviously he's going to close this gap and make it potentially an even more match.
Yeah, Jangle having trouble with this. This is a cursed room. Well, it's an incredibly long room. There's a lot of weird precision with the rope dart climbs in there, and like that back and forth section with the stalactites. It's a really odd, tricky room, and the way to get through it fast is to. It's not easy. That's personally one of my least favorite rooms in the entire game, for exactly the type of reasons that Jangle slept up on there.
I tend to mess it up too and get kind of caught on ledges and just not able to do that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, did make it up to Colossus. So kind of our last major RNG point, I'd say, at least from a boss perspective here. See how it handles here. We try to minimize the cycles, and you'd like to see a boulder would be obviously what you want to be from both of them, but has not had the opportunity to get all the damage. To see a people's elbow coming up on Jangle's side, which is a difficult strat, or like a difficult attack to deal with. You take a little bit more damage there than you want, and next thing you know, you find yourself really having to play it safe.
Difficult attack to deal with, and as you mentioned, the RNG of the Colossus fight is probably the worst attack to see. It chews up a lot of time. The only saving grace is that you get an opportunity to whack on both Colossuses during the wind up for it. And honestly,
good teleport on Fruity.
Yeah, good teleport and good fight. Jangle wrapped up there. Like I said, with that people's elbow, it's not necessarily the best RNG, not what you want to see, but getting through that fight very well.
Yeah, handled it well, got through it a decent amount of time. But Fruity has definitely made up some ground here. Like, he's just now starting Colossus. Gonna get shovel pleases in chat for Jangle's Ascension and Glacial Peak. One of my favorite stages to watch, for especially from high-level runners with the rope dart and movement. This just goes so quick.
Yeah, the Glacial is just a fantastic stage, especially like when you look at it from a perspective of getting through the casual playthrough. You've gotten yourself accustomed with the rope dart, you've gotten through the Colossuses and really gotten a feel for how your movement starts to work. You get into Glacial, that music kicks in, and you just go. It's such a fun stage.
Couple charges there at the end of that fight for Fruity. That seemed to take a little bit longer than he probably would have ideally wanted. Did get through it just fine. Plenty of health in regards to that, but it just seemed like it was a little slower towards the end than would have been preferred. Did make it through. We'll now be obviously starting their ascension as well, and we got Jangle at about, I think, around the halfway point. Glacial right now? Seems about right.
Yep, they're about been a decent Glacial so far. There's some of the, looks like maybe some of those nerves or just general, just little bit of movement spaghetti kicking in a little bit in some of these rooms, but nothing that's didn't cause too bad of a time loss. So it's still going pretty decently, especially considering the lead that Jangle has right now. It should be. Like it's not that it's insurmountable by any means, but you know, you've got Jangle has some room to work with here.
For sure. I mean, Deathless still to Jangle's credit as well, which obviously is the ideal scenario. And yeah, he's stubbing his toe on a lot of different movement things, but overall, gets the one tile. That's not an easy thing to do. So getting that, let's see if he gets his teleport here as well. Looks good, is good.
Yep.
That'll help on that particular front. He'll be finishing off his climb here pretty solidly. Power of Time is the only thing between him and a victory in race 1. We'll see how that goes, as he's going to be going up to his extremely long cutscene. It gives you a lot of time to think about what's coming. Keep an eye on his remaining climb here.
Yeah, and meanwhile, so while at the beginning of the race, Fruity was definitely having some rust, a little bit of nerves kicking in with his movement, but over the course of Crags here, and honestly, after that game crash, we went back into Cool's room and really ripped through the rest of that stage. Same thing with Crags. He's tearing through Glacial now. All he needs is just any opportunity, any major mistake from Jangle's side, and he's right back in this.
Power of Time certainly is a place where that can happen too.
yeah. Tower just gauntlet of a stage. There's so many opportunities where just a single mistake will lead to a death. So
indeed. All right, so Jangle will be starting their trek as Fruity has finished their ascension, and we'll see how things go. I know Jangle is definitely a proponent of going for Hail Mary, so this will be kind of the first point, right? As Fruity's in this cutscene, if he makes a mistake here, this could become an extremely closer race. He did not get Hail Mary, got a little hung up there, so we'll be taking kind of a backup and not even gaining any time.
Yep. But
smart awareness, though.
yeah. It is it's very easy to just send it in that room, even on the backup, and just eat the laser.
Yeah, and that obviously costs time, taking a death, and of course Jangle, if he does, has to deal with the cutscene with Corbel, so that's going to add even more. So any big mistake at this point right now would be very costly, especially with Fruity basically nipping on his heels at this point. Wizrobe placement very brutal.
Yeah,
yeah, they let him pass.
yeah.
It's not the scariest room, but it is the most annoying with the way that those Wizrobes deal with. You usually have enough HP to not worry about it, unlike future rooms coming up here. Levy special from Jangle, and Fruity also missing the Hail Mary.
Yeah, opting out of it, not even going for...
And not even the backup mini Mary. Yeah. Ooh, good Kuni cycle from Janglestorm, though. That'll help keep things moving here. And didn't get any additional health drops, so we won't be seeing any laser skipping going on in the upcoming room.
Yeah, and then Fruity missing the minus dart, though going with that backup still pretty solid, still a decent amount of time saved, but Jangle going for the safety save there, definitely a smart decision.
There's some deadly rooms coming up here, and not having that the jerk Wizrobe right in the way of Fruity there kept him from making that cycle. See if Levy special goes clean here. Both of them getting Levy special with no problem. That's good to see.
Yeah, it looks like Jangle's probably not going. Yep, Jangle ends up not needing that safety save that they took, though. It's definitely that stretch of tower there. If you take a death in there, it's one of the worst deaths in tower you can deal with. So
yeah, it sets you back pretty far, especially if you skip that one checkpoint that you go out of your way for, which most people will opt to do. So yeah, that's why we say that some of these rooms are very difficult, and some of them are costly. Jangle's going to go with the traditional laser boost here. This next room becomes very scary for that.
Yeah, fortunately getting through it just fine.
Yep, very clean. Well done by that. So that room, those Wizrobes can snipe you, especially if your movement's really off. Unfortunately, Jangle did exactly what he needed to do to avoid taking any damage there. We're going through Time Waster room now, and the thing is, doesn't make any big errors here. We'll save, well, not really save time, but personal abuse here. Skipping just a small part of it. Cleanly done. And we'll be doing their final climb up to our final boss.
Fruity getting through the tail end of tower here. I saw he went for, I missed the beginning of it, so I don't know if he had the lower HP count and went for French, or if he had the full 5 for laser boost, but either way, unfortunately, was not able to finish the climb and was stuck right at the last laser with 1 HP, but...
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you do, because it's like you go for it, you think you're going to get there, and then you have to wait it out when things don't go well and save any time. But cool doing it. Not it.
Yeah.
All right, so Jangle's up on the Arcane Golem now. Going to go ahead and do the one tile off the hand to get in there a little bit early, start getting that DPS rolling here with full HP. Obviously, I don't think Jangle even tries for laser skip at this point, so definitely not anything scared of in this fight other than just trying to stay up on the head, reattach as able to, and getting some decent damage here. This golem's basically done. Yep.
Yeah,
time for Jangle, 34:05.
Yep, GG's for Jangle. Yeah, Fruity having a little bit of fun here.
Yeah, Fruity swagging it up a little bit by giving us the hovering ninja.
Such a goofy bug. I love that so much. Yeah, jumps out of it there. Let's see how this golem fight goes. Should be expecting a nice, decent golem here.
Going all in with the shurikens too, like immediately. So just really ramped up that DPS right out of the gate. So just see a few more claps probably than would like with that particular setup. But as long as they can stay up and attached, it's going to start to get a little scary. Down to 2 HP at this point, and the rope dart doesn't always get you through those orbs, but cleanly done. 35:01. GG's in chat for Fruity. Well. finishing only a minute apart after that huge crash, sending them all the way back to the first checkpoint in right room when they were about to hit Bully. I mean, that was a good amount of ground that they made up. So, can't be too disappointed in that. Hopefully the game plays nice and remains stable though for the remaining matches here. And this is a best of 3, so Fruity has a chance of getting redemption, getting back into the mix here, and getting a win to force this into a third game. And I think Fruity was leading before that occurred, so this definitely could go to 3 rounds depending on how how Jangle basically handles in the next match.
Yeah, no, and if you really go back and look at it, that crash definitely cost at least a minute. And I honestly, I think it was considerably more when you add up the time of getting back in game plus all of the additional stages that had to get rerun there on that crash.
Yeah, Fruity in the setup room is saying that crash actually cost about 2. So
yeah,
that was really the decider in this. Fruity's race up until that occurred and was trying to make it around. And again, valiant effort, well done on that finish. Considering. Hope for a stable game in the future. Like this, be a very even match and fair for both runners.
Yeah, and honestly, like, obviously, like that run was quite a bit behind what either of these runners would probably hope for, but there were a lot of moments of just really, really strong movement throughout that race for both runners, and they're clearly capable of very, very good times. And it's like even with that crash, like this isn't taking as much time as it did. This is gonna be really, really close over the next one or maybe 2 if Fruity wins the next races, and this could really, really go either way.
I really do love it when we go to 3 matches. It's just that extra element of tension, a little bit of excitement. Definitely gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna put all of my thoughts and hopes and well wishes to Fruity's game. It does not do that again. This game is pretty stable. It may not always work right all the time, but crash is one of the things it's not necessarily known for.
And it looks like our runners are opting for a
break
here. Makes sense. Take a breather, kind of shake themselves out, and come back fresh for the next race.
All right, looks like our racers are back. Already to our admin, and our countdown has started. Fruity obviously kind of going, darn it, LMAO. I love the file name. Again, it's just great to see what you can do with some of these naming profiles.
Yeah, no, it's a hope, like it's having a crash, something that out of your control decide any round, obviously, does not feel great, and it's really you hope he's feeling in good spirits and is just gonna push through. And given how aggressively he pushed the rest of the game after that crash, he's definitely not feeling too down, which is what you're hoping to see.
I feel that the applied pressure, knowing that obviously that crash probably did put you, behind, obviously then forced the platforming, and you could tell that after that, like, the platforming really solidified. Rudy was just flying through the rest of the Now I think that the race nerves are over. You've got one under your belt for both the runners. Probably going to see a little bit of cleaner movement, I'd say, on both sides in regards to that. It's probably a lot less mistakes. So this will be exciting to for sure, as everyone's going to go through, obviously, the most difficult stage of the game, or second most difficult. Always forget that Forlorn Temple is a thing. But
Yeah, that Forlorn Temple and getting that bridge skip. It's really hard.
Yep.
It's an impossible trick. I don't know how the runners do it.
Saving time there just absolutely never occurs. Hooker Z's on both sides. Let's see what our opening shard count is. I'm going to go with 2 this time. Get 3 in a previous one.
Gonna get 0 shards.
Going.
Got 2.
Nailed it. See, I can predict. Let's go. I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket after this.
Yeah.
So that was 1 apiece, right? I'm sorry, I did see 2 shards. I think it was 1 apiece. So we're on equal footing coming out of Ninja Village, which is good. I mean, again, 1 isn't terrible. You want to get to that shard count. You like to be at 34 before the screen with the shop, so you can only take the arc, or even higher if you want to take less and just skip the extra shards. But RNG has a little say in that front. So if some of our monsters are feeling like giving up their wallets, Ninja's going to make their way through the bottom hills. And see what happens with the opening cap. I think Fruity tried to do like a front boost, but didn't quite get it and got pushed back. Jangle tends to ignore the initial kappa. Oh, both of them at least doing a backstep, but Fruity also getting the front boost too.
It looks like both of these runners are having their second go at Autumn. That the first one, I think, for both of them did not go as planned. So
Fruity's definitely going all in on the T-boosting right now.
Yeah, Fruity opted to take out that last green kappa for a little bit of time loss, just to see if RNG would bless him with the last time shard that he needed. And fortunately it did, so he did not have to go to the wall, because he was definitely short before then. Yeah,
and Yangle also only needed the arch too, did not need to visit the trunk on the right-hand side, so very equal on that. Even though Fruity had to go maybe a little bit out of their way to get there, it's still very, very close. See, we got right boost. Go see, get your right thoughts out there for everybody and see if everyone's going to go. I think they're both stump users. They both use the wood platform and both getting right. So good. Yep. In an equal, I like to see that.
See, just there are few runners left that are not quite using the alpha plan. Good to see that I'm amongst friends here. Just jump on the same pixel every time. It's so easy, obviously.
Yeah, you say that, but lately I've been failing it. I hate to say this, but I think I've adopted Alpha Plat because Alpha Plat has so far not let me down. Funny how you have to change your strats when things just stop working. I don't know how it is. I should see very similar things here. I believe both will opt to boost through the saw.
Yep.
Bring into tower skip.
Fruity getting past the bodyguard just fine, or the lifeguard just fine. And Fruity, it just did not even opt to go for Spike Tower this time. Maybe not feeling it after the miss previously. And Jangle unfortunately did bonk on the tower and have to take the water, which is
so that's
slower than just going straight to the water. But
yeah, I feel like Fruity probably didn't feel like their positioning was in the right spot, even with the projectile incoming, to be able to pull it off. It probably wisely just chose to skip it entirely, and again did save a little bit of time because Jangle took that knockback by not quite getting high enough to even have the spikes boost him over the top of the tower. Well played there. Looking at shard counts, Jangle's a little bit lower, but still in good position. Did take the dip down for the additional there. just to make sure that they were really solidified here. Fruity again missing the swing skip here. That's unfortunate. Trick has kind of had his number today, and it's starting to add up a little bit. Good stump jump.
Pushing through. See, like, shard counts are looking pretty good. Should just be clear through to Beef Golem here.
Finalizing their movement here. Nice little grub bounce there from Fruity. Just save a little bit of extra frameage as they're going. But yeah, both extremely strong on their shard counts. Should have no problems with their upcoming shot here. No rhythm jumping, I think, from either side. They'll both mash their way up that wall. All right, so we're going to come up on our first point, first boss here. Execution only, no RNG needed. Just be good at mashing and getting your DPS in there. So obviously, we want to keep this in one cycle. You have to wait before you throw those shurikens in order to make sure that the column is exposed and in vulnerability before you launch those three, which helps kind of guarantee that DPS as long as you sword mashing rhythm good. Jangle looks solid, just in there. Definitely no V-Sync usage on Jangle's side. No. And clean with Fruity as well.
Funny. As easy as that fight is, and as consistent as it is to just do the same thing every single time, like the setup for it is just you just mash and walk right. Still, when the leaf frisbee starts coming back every single time, you know, that little bit of stress that maybe you messed something up and didn't realize it creeps in, because you definitely don't want that time loss from not getting the one cycle.
It feels like that goes in phases too. Like most days it's free, but then you go to this stretch and suddenly it's like 2 or 3 runs in a row you can't get it. You're wondering, what am I doing different here? Like, I don't know what I'm doing different. And it's literally just one hit every time. It feels so bad to miss it.
Yeah, or you go through that phase where you just forget that shurikens exist for some reason. You're sitting there, you do your setup, you get your slashes, and you just have no idea how you didn't get.
Why is this not dead? And then you see those 3 diamonds, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, there's another button I need to press here.
Whoops. All right, so no butt boosts from either one. We get a nice little Ducker Z there from Yangle, avoiding the face plant with the swinging spike ball. Ooh, Fruity kind of stood up just a little too early.
Yeah, he had the same problem last time, where he bonked on the spike ball. He's going for as tight of a duck as possible, trying to get the mythical, I think it's what, like 7 frame duck, and giving him a little bit of trouble here.
That's right. Sportsmanship from Jangle, who actually took damage getting ready to try to get around those Crusher cycles, and ended up having to wait, not only for the initial one, but also didn't feel very confident getting through the double one at the end of the room. It's allowed Fruity back into, like, right into his heels again here. So we've got an extremely tight one, and missing the skeleton now puts Fruity in the lead. Unfortunate movement or like slight issues there on Jangle's side. I mean, it's nothing too dangerous, even at 1 HP right now. Should be very safe. The next save point is, well, there's not really a save point, but it does have a health refill. Gotta be careful though. This fireball can be tricky. Okay, phew.
No.
That red Kappa can be a sniper sometimes, so handled very well by Jangle just to avoid taking the death here. Getting the health refill. Both of them now going to move in to see how their badonkadonks go. Fruity had the good setup, just didn't get the jump. Jangle actually getting it. Oh goodness. And another lead change. Jangle taking the lead by getting badonkadonk.
Yeah, both runners did miss badonkadonk last time, and getting it. Jangle getting it this go around. It's pretty significant time save.
Fruity handled the Wizard Ups very well. Is not too far behind. They're in the same room, just usually about Jangle's like finishing as Fruity's entering these rooms. So it's that much of a difference. Basically, it's one room going through here.
Yeah,
We'll see what Ruxton wants to do. Again, Ruxton did favor Jangle in the last run by giving a high pattern where Fruity got low. You'd like to see that maybe flip-flop or at least keep things fair.
We'll see.
Pressure cycles on both sides. Dangerous there.
All right, Ruxton, what you gonna do? Let's see.
Imagine them like Jangle on his side, always out on the mic going, "Hey buddy, it's the Ishbender."
Cat.
There's another high pattern for Jangle who's going to take advantage of it. He's going to get up there. It's probably going to be around the maybe a mid platform, but maybe a low kill and high on the other side as well. So
Yeah.
Buxton not playing favorites this time is going to keep things nice and fair. Jangle getting the low kill with one left and Fruity getting the mid kill with one hit left. So almost got that full time.
Yeah, no, and I think the runners here, yeah, that the slightly slower kill on Jangle's side had let Fruity close the gap there a little bit. It looks like they're about 3-ish seconds apart at this point.
Yeah, about 3 to 4 seconds apart right now, this particular point. So this is an extremely close race. And again, movement matters in this game. You know, keeping your corners tight, keeping your platforming good, solid, and getting the things that you want first try without too much hiccups, no stubbing your toes. I mean, that's all it takes is you do just a few of those and then the lead's going to shift again on it. We'll see, and of course, we've got the infamous BC11 upcoming as well. Both of them, I think Jangle messed up on getting N2, but Fruity got through BC11 pretty cleanly last time, so we'll see how this goes this time. First, we got the deadly room of the tournament, the upcoming tree room, followed by the spikes following. That's been the room that's probably killed most runners throughout this one. Ooh, Jangle missing the boost around the corner there. Got a little high on that last swing. Fruity's going to make up just that much more ground.
Yeah, and then Fruity taking damage from the Wanderer there. I don't think he was going to go for the spike pit anyway, but still opting to go for the spike pit with low health.
Oh boy, this red Kappa could be dangerous. Oh, and he gets him. Oh no!
That's the dangerous part about when going into that spike pit with 4 health and opting for the for that strat is very risky, as we just saw.
I respect it, but that red Kappa is deadly, and he's gotten me more times than I care to admit whenever I go for that particular strat. Jangle, second time N2, gets up there finally, so a little bit of time loss, but definitely better than his previous run where he completely failed the trick and had to use the elevator. We got that going on. Let's see how Fruity's BC11 goes. Ooh, okay, like a very light setup there, but opt to kind of switch over to the B2 and just had to modify it. Didn't quite get what he wanted there.
Yeah, I did not get the cloud step the way he wanted off that second projectile.
Yeah.
And just like that, so with the death in tree room, we're now seeing Jangle finishing up Bamboo just going through the drop now.
So Fruity's also in another kind of a bad spot here because the shard count's really low for this point. I believe I didn't see, but I'm pretty sure Fruity did not reset the game after the death.
No. Yeah,
so he's gonna have to take a dip down here to the extra shards to get what he needs, because 251 by the end of the waterfall is what's required to be able to do the next shop as safely.
Yeah, really fortunate that Crystal is there.
Yeah,
saved many a race in its time.
Indeed. Jangle able to get both the wingsuit and wingsuit attack, so will not have any sort of like problems getting through the early setup portion of Howling Grotto here. We'll see how platforming goes. Again, this room is not, or this particular stage, not too many tricks. I mean, there's like some minor ones. We know both don't really go for God Yeet. Don't blame them. And then God drops are kind of scary. Jangle smartly taking that one. That one got a little wild there and definitely pulled back on the wingsuit. Smartly done. PK skip is probably being one of the bigger ones here. And then, of course, we just have the Golem fight. See how Emerald Golem goes in these runners, which last time was quite the decider in how things were going.
Pretty was a good one wingsuit drop there. The spike room.
Jangle's DK skip here so far is in range.
Good DK.
Yep. Not too scary to get through that gap there. That was pretty safe.
Not be going for it here.
Ooh, we have some technical difficulties. Oh, streams back. Oh, didn't get the boost in the water. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you hate to see that. It happens.
Us here.
Yeah, Jangle taking that unfortunate death in cycle 1, right at the very end of damage.
Good fight so far. Getting the final swings here. Definitely not gonna make the yeah.
A little bit of shoulder
Swing-
pads. But that's okay. Those shoulder pads don't do anything.
Yeah, swinging well fast, making sure Golem is good and dead this time.
Heck yeah, I don't
Very
respect it.
understandable.
Good low kill considering the right pattern there. Not bad. That'll help keep any time loss to a minimum. That's good to see.
Yeah,
Good clean phase 1 from Fruity as well. No shoulder pads on that end. Has an extra shuriken. May set up for the drop kill. Up, got away a little bit. So DPS is a little lower than you'd like. Now gonna stay far and throw shurikens. Try to get down as low as you can with the sword swing. That kind of causes the wingsuit to come out versus the shuriken, but didn't have one to throw at that point. So even though it got away from him a little bit, which will work in Jangle's favor, it was still a pretty decent fight. I mean, the main thing is nobody died. That's what you want.
Yeah, definitely definitely a better situation than what we had in the last race.
Yeah. We got Jangle starting their right room in Quill's room right now. Again, not a big fan of Kappa slapping. Probably will take this relatively standard. Might slap one about the halfway point of the room. Puts the pressure about where he's comfortable.
Yeah, we'll see. The cool stream obviously being fairly cursed from the last race. We'll see.
Yeah, we definitely want to make sure that Fruity does not have a repeat of last one. Jangle did miss that Kappa slap, but it's fine because the Crusher was actually in a very comfortable place there after that. Ooh, didn't quite get the bird boost and still didn't get the save point either. He actually dipped back for it and then missed it entirely. So kind of lost a little bit of time there towards the end of that particular one. It's not a danger point though, plenty of HP.
Plenty of HP, and fortunately, even though they bonked on the bird, they did still get a second whack at it, so you didn't have to wait for the fireballs, which can definitely use a good bit of time. Fruity getting the right room here just fine.
Very clean ascension in that room. That's a little trickier than it looks to be able to get up there without having to use that wall on the right hand side. Putting up for Grass Cutter and getting it.
Get through this. Get through this long.
It was what, the room right before Bully Room.
Yeah.
Let's hope. I'm praying. I'm hoping. Got good thoughts. I'm putting great karma out there. Get a Bully Room. Let's see how Jangles goes. Standard 2 hit. Not too bad. Oh, missing grass cutter on Waffle's side. That second shuriken came out late, ended up hitting the wall instead of the switch.
Let's see, I'm getting close to bully room here, so.
Jangle taking a lot of beatings at the early part. Will definitely, not get the cycle to go around the spike pillar there. And it's got to be very careful. This room is deceptively evil at 1 HP. So is this one. Like, you could die here if you're not careful.
Yeah, very easy to die right there at the end.
Oh,
Pretty
man.
fortunately, getting through bully room. So.
All right, we still have a race. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, we have avoided the crash.
All right. Damage in the first phase, but easily setting it up for that whipless. Good fight from Jangle. And being deathless does not have to worry about the additional cutscene time.
Yep.
See how Fruity's goes?
This fight can always be tricky when you've got from one side to another. The DPS can be a little tricky though. Fortunately, right left is much better than having to deal with left right. So.
Fruity taking a little bit more difficult one. This is my preferred method of trying to get whipless as well. So it's like you have to manage the knockbacks and the damage boost to keep the DPS up, but not overdo it. She goes top ring. It's, I think, a count of 19 strikes at a certain point to make that happen. But excellently.
Second fight in a row for Fruity, where he's gotten exactly what he wanted. Unfortunately, this time, because of the death, having to deal with the additional time lost to the cutscene, but...
Jangle already working their way through Crags, has the rope dart, starting to RDE everything here, basically. So, rope dart everything, as I just did. I'm so bad at doing it.
So, same as last time. Now that the rope dart's out, Jangle's sitting with a bit of a lead. The spaghetti's kicked in just a little bit.
That still might be residual race nerves. I know that it happens a lot. I think I've seen it like very consistent runners, in a non-race setting. They tend to do things just fine, but then you start to get into this race scenario, and it's like the rope dart adds that wild factor. Maybe you're pressing a button just a little too quick. You're trying to reach for a wall maybe a little sooner than you should, and it all adds up. And again, like, you start to see these little fumbles and the stub toes. And any that you do, if your opponent maybe isn't quite fumbling as much, can take that to their advantage. We'll see how Jangle's teleport set up. You're up a little early.
And I want to throw back to it because it's. Him if he messed it up.
Respect the swag, bro. Respect the swag.
This man's commitment to Poopa Slide is unrivaled.
I like it. It's actually fun, but you're right. I mean, in the situation where you're at 3 HP in a race setting, wow.
Yeah, it loses time. It loses time. It's slower.
All right, close deuces going on right now with Jangle's side. He's going to start with our red boy, but then swap out to the green one. So far, I think it's been a boulder attack. And Fruity, unfortunately, getting a sonic spinball action going on. Wasn't able to...
That was needed during the spinball attacks.
Be careful, Fruity. Oh, God, that's scary. Oh.
Ooh.
That is so sketch right now.
Please just be
that
dead.
people's
just
elbow with 2 HP.
Oh, no.
Oh no, and didn't quite have
Quick
it
swap.
over either. Oh, this is an unfortunate fight for Fruity. This is
Okay,
the difference. Probably backing out of some of that just to make sure they didn't die.
Yup. And of course, Jangle now tearing through Glacial, so double teases in chat.
I do like to point out, like this, you know, like you don't know it watching the speedrunners or vast majority of the speedrunners in this game, but this level has ice physics almost everywhere, and you don't even know it by watching with the use of the rope dart, the platforming, the one tile, the kicks, everything that just goes into combination. You just don't even know that. Hey, you know, if you were trying to run on those particular points right where Jangle is, Ninja takes a while to get moving because it's just ice.
Yeah, it's actually like it's a huge pain in a casual playthrough too.
Oh
like,
god,
ice physics are not fun to deal with, but
they aren't friendly at all. Like if you're trying to turn around, you can forget about it. It literally is like trying to turn the Titanic. You just can't move. All right, but yep, both moving along very nicely so far. Speaking of ice physics showing off there, just to show he's just doing a little duck slide here and there. Why not?
And so Jangle here, Jangle is actually having a very, very good Glacial right now. Unfortunately, in the had the ice fall on them in one of the rooms earlier and shoot up some time and missing the TP here, but
oh yeah, missed the TP. It's a little late on that. I think the rope dart slash there to hit it because it looked like it got caught on one of the falling platforms rather than getting to the monster cleanly, and that kind of threw off the timing there.
Yeah, but still, all things considered, this has been a very, very good Glacial.
Good recovery on Jangle by missing that. That's super scary when you miss it because that pit's right below and you're down there. You could very easily die.
Yeah, no, the the TP is definitely pretty horrifying. It's like, unlike the cracks one, you know, it's not too bad. Timings on it is tough, but you know, worst thing that can happen is, well, actually, the worst thing that can happen is you try to do it with 3 HP and end up in the spike pit as opposed to on the ground.
Get the teleport, but then die for it. Yeah.
Yeah, but fortunately, you know, since you do get the lantern with HP right before that room, that shouldn't ever happen. So, you know, generally worst case scenario, you just don't get it. But that Glacial TP is it definitely be pretty scary.
They're one cutscene apart. Angle taking the lead, getting into Tower of Time first. Tower of Tears, Tower of Time Loss, Tower of Terror, whatever you want to call it. We'll see how it goes. Lots of lasers, lots of pain waiting for all of our runners getting in here. Angle going to go ahead and take the safe pad there just in case things go wrong here in Hail Mary. Oh, got the Hail Mary damage, but didn't save the boost.
Ooh.
Now needs to take this very slowly. That Wizrobe is very nastily placed too. So
yeah, the Wizrobe doing everything in their power to try to
yeah, basically just say, you know what, I'm ending this run for you.
Yeah.
See how Hail Mary room goes for Fruity here as Angle's going to be navigating up to minus start. A little slow getting to the projectile. We'll have to opt out of Hail Mary. Maybe goes for a slight junior here. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Fruity is going to have to go for pretty much everything in tower here.
Yeah, and they're very similar on strats. Like both go for, you know, levy special as you saw on Jangle's side. They don't go for spike boost. Steve.
Yeah,
Jangle missing out on Cooney cycle, so that's gonna potentially give Fruity a chance to get a little bit of time. Actually taking it extremely slow. Jangle not wanting to mess around with that crusher. Can't blame them at this point.
Yeah, no, pretty much the only thing that can close the gap at this point would be Jangle taking a death in tower here.
Or maybe laser. Well, even laser skip isn't that big of a time save. Ooh, something went wrong on levy special over there. Saved it. Fortunately, didn't take the death. Speaking of laser skip, there will be none on Jangles again. No RNG drops here.
Jangle taking the safety save again. Very smart decision.
It's a big gap. It's a huge gap to have anything go wrong and make you have to lose that time. No health drops on Fruity's side either, so we won't be seeing any laser shenanigans going on over there either.
Yeah, I think I might have mistimed it, but we're looking at something around like a 30 to 40 second gap here.
It's basically the amount of the cutscene getting into the Tower of Time is really what they were at.
Yeah.
So Walk of Shame from Jangle. So Fruity in a position to not have to worry about it either. Right, here comes kind of the big clutch area, right?
Ooh.
See what happens with lasers. Oh, Jangle taking a knockback there. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so fortunately, getting the host was friendly, gave a little bit of extra help just in case, but definitely ended up not needing it, which is very good.
A wise decision to back away from that one immediately when the bounce didn't go right.
Time waster room here.
How Fruity does with that room. I think Fruity even... Oh yeah, Fruity is going for it. 1 HP, gets set up, should be clean.
That magic ball there at the end.
Respecting that projectile, I do not blame them.
Yeah.
This is still really close. Anything going wrong on Jangle's side at Arcane Golem could let Fruity sneak a win out.
Yeah, no. If Jangle dies during this fight, that would
even a fall could make this really close. I feel, depending.
Yeah, it's definitely close, but I think it's pretty much just going to come down to a death here to close the gap. But
Fruity thought about going for laser skip, opted out at the last second, didn't like the setup, and decided to take the platform, keep the full HP, and get into the fight where it's going to be a little bit more safe for sure. Let's see how this goes. Jangle off to a good start, up in the face, hanging in there well, getting between the orbs pretty cleanly. Throws the shurikens off to the void. A little high there and ended up going over the head.
Very good fight from Jangle there.
GG's to Jangle, 32-25, really close to PB as well. Not bad, like within about 30 some odd seconds or so of their PB. So GG will be taking this series 2-0 and sending Fruity to a big second chance bracket vacation. I pointed this out at the beginning of the broadcast, but the loser of this match goes into the second chance bracket, so they're not out of the tournament. However, they get 2 consecutive buys before they actually have another match. So Fruity's going to have a lot of time to practice before they have to worry about another opponent. It'll be quite an interesting one to see how Fruity rebounds, obviously from that end. We'll be moving forward. But yeah. GG to Fruity as well, 32-47. Close race, only about 22 seconds difference.
So
like to see.
That might have been... That might have been a PB for Jangle.
I don't believe... Maybe it is. I know he's got a 32. I think it's lower.
Unless I don't know what
minus 18 on splits.
Yeah, minus 18 on splits. Yeah, that was. I'm not sure if Jangle's running against their PB splits, but if they are, that is a very sizable PB.
Especially in a race format, you like to see it. So
yeah,
looks like that's gonna do it for us today. Again, thank you, GG Speedruns. Thank you, Mr. Dino, for rebroadcasting and hosting this tournament. It's been a lot of fun so far. We have no further races for today, but be ready tomorrow, 12:30 Central Standard Time. Add additional 7 hours to get into the European one there for the next one. We're going to have Kunigas ESC versus Roll Jutsu. That is going to be one hype matchup. Those two are running very solid right now and are very good runners this game, so I cannot wait to watch that one. That's going to be an exciting race.
Going to be a fantastic race.
Following that, obviously at 2 p.m. Central, at again another about 7 hours to get into the European region, you've got Grandius versus Flash in the winner bracket as well. So 2 matches tomorrow, both going to be really good, all featuring really good runners of the game. That's going to be an amazing series of events. not look like we'll be rating anyone at this point. So I believe that brings us to a time. Do you have any final words there, Haltal?
I am eagerly awaiting a couple of these next matches. That roll Cooney one, especially because I get to sit there and see who gets to beat me and lose his bracket after that. So
good stuff. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us, and look forward to more hot messenger action here on GG Speedruns. Care all.